Hi everyone, I am here with a review of lesson 6 for our viola players, and this week our lesson was all about playing the Peru Blue Boogie, which you see on the screen right in front of you. Now, before we worry about playing any of the music, let's just take a minute to review some of the notes that you'll need for this tune. So put those violas up. Okay, we're going to get ready to play some notes here. I have a beautiful bow hold. I'm going to place my bow on the D string. The first note that we need is the note open D. Let's play 5 of those together just as a little warm-up. So here's 5 Ds. The next note we're going to need to know is 1 finger on the D string. That's the note E. Let's play 5 of those. Next is the note F sharp. 2 fingers on the D string. Here we go. Add your 3rd finger, that's the note G. And finally, we're going to have to pop over to the A string and play open A. No fingers, let's play 5 of those. Now those 5 notes are the only things you're going to need to play the Peru Blue Boogie. So taking a look now at our music, you're going to notice a few symbols, and we'll talk about them as we get to them, but a few symbols that we haven't encountered yet in lessons. The first is right here, this rest symbol right here, and this is called a whole rest. When it's hanging below the line, it's called a whole rest. So you see we have 2 measures of whole rest, which means we rest for the entire measure. So a total of 8 beats. And the reason that we have that is because there is a play along track with this video, which I will show you later, and there's an introduction. So we wait for the introduction and then we come in. Okay, and you'll see our first note that we play right here is the note D. So we play D, 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 D. Then this is the symbol for 1 beat of rest, and this is actually a half rest. It looks very similar to the whole rest at the beginning, but you'll see it's resting on top of a line. That means it's a half rest or a 2-beat rest. So we have 3 total beats of rest right here. So let's read the top line of notes all the way through using the rests and the note names. So here we go. D, 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 rest, rest, rest. D, 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 rest, rest, rest. This is G, 3 fingers. G, 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 rest, rest, rest. This is F sharp. We'll call it F for right now. F, 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 rest, rest, rest. Good. Now, we talked about in our lesson that when you play this, during the rest, that's a very good time to put those fingers down. So we're going to make sure that we're using our time wisely and getting those fingers down where they're supposed to be. So here's what the top line should sound like. Just watch how I do this. It should sound like this. Rest, rest, rest. And put 3 fingers down. And take 1 finger off. Okay. One other thing that I would like to point out before we play together is this symbol, these 2 symbols on the top. These are bowing direction symbols. Now, depending on the lesson, we may or may not have gotten to this part, depending on what group you came with. So, and if we didn't, we're going to go over it next week. But just so you are aware of this, that symbol is called a down bow, and that means that we're going from the frog towards the tip. That's the direction that we're moving our bow, so this way. Okay, if we went from the tip to the frog, that's called an up bow, and the symbol for that is a V. We'll get to that eventually, but for right now, just know that anytime it says down bow over a note, that note is you're going to need your bow to move in this direction. Now, you'll notice that sometimes, like if we take a look right here at the beginning, okay, we have D, down bow for the D, then that is going to make this up, and down, because they alternate as you play. Okay, so if we're ending on a down bow here, and then they want us to play another down bow, we're going to run out of space on our bow. So there's this little symbol here. This would be an apostrophe if you were in your English class making contractions. But in music, that is called a retake. So if I play from the beginning, I'm going to have D. Now my next note is supposed to be a down bow, and I have a retake written. So I'm going to lift my bow off the string and put it back at the frog to do my next down bow. Okay. Now, we're going to keep working on that next week. But if you feel like you're perfect on the notes and you need a new challenge, you can start working on those bowing directions. That's an important part of playing viola. But for right now, let's play from the beginning where we come in from those Ds. Okay, remember, hold that instrument up. Get that left hand ready. We're using our fingertips and nice rounded fingers to play. Okay, your beautiful bow hold. Put that bow down in the sweet spot. We're going to start on these Ds. Ready, and here we go. Okay, rest, rest. Put 3 fingers down. And take 1 finger off. Good. So that's the top, that's the whole top line. Now if we move down to measure 11 here, this is a note we have not read yet today. This is the note E. So we have, that's 1 finger on the D string. We have E, 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 rest. D, 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 rest. D, 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 D. Let's play from here with the E. Okay, so get that first finger ready to go. Okay, here we go. Good. So when we learned it in our lesson, we said that whole part that we just played together is kind of like the first section, right? It's sort of one complete phrase, one complete musical thought. Okay. So let's go through and play that whole first section together. Okay. Starting on those D's at the top. Ready, and here we go. Rest, rest, rest. And put 3 fingers down. And take 1 finger off. Down to 3 E's and D's. Beautiful. Now, if you got that, we're going to move on. If you didn't get that, just pause and go back and play through it again. Okay. There's a couple of measures of rest again here before the second half. There's a little musical interlude that the play along track does, so that's why those are written in. Okay. And then we start back up again here on more D's, and you'll notice that the second half is basically identical to the first half until we get to here, to this D. The last 2 measures are where things are a little bit different. Okay, we're going to play a D, rest, 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 and then A, D. So this is where we do have to pop over to the A string, move that bow over to play 2 A's and then back to D. So the last 2 measures will sound like this. D, rest, rest, rest. With the exception of that, everything else is exactly the same. Okay, so before I play the boogie all the way through for you, I want to show you how to find that play along track. Okay, I will put a link in the description, but if you go to my Peru Orchestra YouTube channel, you'll see that there is a video right here of the Peru Blue Boogie. Now, I'm not going to play that for you right now because playing videos off of the computer and then having the sound be recorded back does not sound very good. But I do want to show you, if this particular recording is too fast, which it's a little bit faster than we've been playing, you can go to the settings right here and to speed, and you can actually change the speed that you'd like to hear this video. So we discovered that 0.5 is too slow. It's like playing in slow motion. But 0.75 is a really good tempo if you are just starting. So the idea is, put it on 0.75 and play along with this video. There's a little xylophone sound that indicates when you are supposed to play, and everything should fit together. All of your music lines up with the music on this video as well. Okay, once you get the 0.75, you can go back to normal speed. And we also discovered that 1.25 is actually a pretty good challenge tempo. Okay, so if you feel like you're really solid on it and you want to challenge yourself, go to the faster speed. Okay, but I'm going back to the boogie. I'm going to play all the way through this. You can play with me, or you can just listen, and then take some time this week to really perfect that so we can play it together next week. Okay, so I'm skipping that introduction, starting on the D's. Ready, and here we go. Put 3 fingers down. Take 1 finger off. Now 3 E's and D's. Okay. Now we're waiting, and here we go again. More D's. Put 3 fingers down. Take 1 finger off. Down to 3 E's and D's. Over to the A. So that's the whole boogie. I know everyone did a really good job with this in the lesson, and I'm excited to see how it sounds next week in our lesson. So practice playing along with that play along video, picking out the spots that maybe you need to work on a little bit and practicing those on your own, and then just also working on having a really nice tone with your bow, making sure your fingers of your left hand are in the correct spot so they're perfectly in tune, and we'll keep working on this next time. So happy practicing this week, and I will see you at your next lesson.